Well, hey everybody, it is Friday, so happy Friday. I'm Nick Slavik. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavik Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as a painter and an entrepreneur to answer any of your questions. Now, homeowners, this is a place for you. Whatever you've ever wanted to ask a professional contractor, this is the place for it. And professionals, you know what we're here for. We're here to talk entrepreneurship, apprenticeship, marketing, business, hiring, all that good stuff. So we got some fun stuff going on today. I'm going to take you around on a job site tour of one of my favorite job sites so far this year. And then we're going to sit down with a couple other contractors that are going to come on here, and we're going to talk about the PDCA EXPO, the Painting and Decorating Contractors of America. Just had their, hey, Rugmani, how are you guys? Thanks for watching. They just had their National Expo. It's the largest gathering probably in the world of the most professional paint business entrepreneurs you'll ever find. So PDCA is actually going to come on with me. We're going to talk about the Expo, and I believe if we can get Nick May on here, he's going to do it. And then anybody else who was at the Expo or anybody else who wants to know the Expo, just ask to go live with me. Let's go live and let's talk about either your experience with it or if you have any questions about it. And I got a special book here. I carry this around with me, and I take notes for the Expo. So things that I'm going to implement with my business. So I'm going to take you around on a job site tour here, and thank you guys for all watching. It would mean the world to me if you guys shared this so we can spread the word and get it to all the rest of the contractors here. So, okay, we've been here since, I believe, Monday. We're going to finish up here today in this beautiful place. We've got this beautiful curved stairwell, wallpaper accent there. Big, beautiful entry set right there. We've been kind of working through doing a Shannon McKeith, one of my favorite people. Thank you so much. Actually, you'll see there's blue tape and green tape. We don't want to use the green tape to cover there. We're just doing a final little pass on this wall here. So yeah, we thought we'd do that. So I'm going to walk you through here. Kitchen here. The only thing left is we're going to work through this house methodically. This is about 10 to 15 years old, and we're going to be doing touch-ups on the woodwork. So some parts we're going to mask off and spray. Some of them we're going to hand finish. So I'll give you a little tour back through here. Go back through the main suite. Let's make sure the guys aren't all napping back here. So yeah, they had some major damage in the crown molding here. So we ripped out a lot of the old sealant and we replaced it. And I actually used Benjamin Moore Advanced Matte for the first time on this project, and it matches the shine of this existing woodwork almost perfectly. And it's a wonderful, wonderful product to work with, just like all the rest of the Advances. So let's pop into this master closet here. Oh yeah, like you guys all just woke up. How's it going back here? Good. Lots of ins and outs, as you can imagine, in these closets here. So, all right, I'll leave you guys be. It's hot in there. All right, we'll walk on back through here. And as soon as I set this back down, Chris Shank, I see you're watching there. As soon as I sit this back down, I'll fire you up here, and we can talk about the Expo. So yeah, we're going to walk through, do a little bit of. We removed a bunch of window hardware here, and we're patching. If this neighborhood looks familiar, we actually painted the neighbor's house this last summer. It was that big, beautiful. So we're redoing pantry doors and just kind of working through this house as you would imagine a 10 or 15-year-old house would need. We'll be going back through the back entry there. We'll take you down through the stairwell here. As you can imagine, we got a little job site set up here. You can see all the awesome color-coded totes. Each one of my crews, we actually have parts of 3 crews here on this job to kind of work through quickly. Everything that my people have is color-coded so they can quickly tell. Come back through here. How's it going back here? Going well?
Yeah.
Awesome. So they are hard at work back here. Okay, back on up. Oop, I hear some more people back here.
It says...
Oh, look at this, talking time, huh?
Oh, we're just watching Will finish.
Awesome. Oh, you guys are doing a good job down here. Let's just be wrapping up.
Yep, get some final wall.
Awesome. All right. Yep. And if we're either training or running in place, right? If you got nothing to do, start jogging in place. At least it'll be better for you. So. All right, guys. Mark Johnson, thanks for watching. We got to get together again. Mark and I have talked about recreating that historic sand plaster finish, and I actually got a call to do it in a house this last week. So Mark, we should get together and do that sometime. So okay, I'm gonna pop this guy down here. All right, we'll see if we can fire up Chris Shank here. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can bring somebody up here. All right, Chris Shank, there you are. All right, let's see if we can go. There we go. Petrolac, thank you for watching. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, so
Nice house.
Yeah.
Huh?
Very beautiful. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. This is the
Okay.
first time going through my super awesome businessman Bluetooth speaker. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Nice house that you're going to there. It's a nice tour.
Yeah, it's okay. This little house, you know, it's nothing really, you know. No, so
Better.
you guys are here today because we're going to recap the expo. Chris, you've done a couple expos. Christine, I think this was your first one, wasn't it?
It was.
So what did you think? What was your impression of all these super nerdy painters that came together?
Oh, I did not get nerd vibes too much. I thought everybody was hip and new age, and I was blown away by all of y'all. I mean, it was amazing.
That's good to hear.
Nice. So, yeah, it was a fun crowd.
So Chris, I think, I wonder if your first expo wasn't my first expo. I've been to 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
New Orleans, maybe?
Yeah, New Orleans, I think that was the first one. And in San Diego, yeah, 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, what did you think this year?
I thought it was really good. So it was an influx of a newer, younger crowd, but I'm very impressed with this new sharp business owner. They run bigger businesses. It's not, like it's not like everybody's running huge businesses, but it was just definitely interesting. As you could, you got to associate with people who run businesses like yours and do similar things. And it was surprising to all of us, I think, that it feels very engaging. There's a high energy.
Yeah.
Very people who are just pushing things forward and not just satisfied with the status quo, not just interested in a plateau, but saying like, how do we keep pushing this forward and gunning this? So that's pretty interesting. Did you feel like you saw that?
Yeah, I mean, at my first expo, we've talked about this a lot of time. I mean, it wasn't exactly a crisis of faith, but it was like a coming to Jesus moment where you're like, oh my God, I had no contact with the outside world. And all of a sudden you're in a room with 300 to 400 people who are all way better, and not just like doing things a little better, like 20 times better than you at everything you do. Everything you thought you were good at, there's somebody there that doesn't even think about that. They're so good at it. So it was a thing where it made me recalibrate everything I judge myself and my business on. And then over the last 2 to 3 years being involved, I've basically just kept narrowing that down, getting a little more perspective. And this year I thought, well, I probably won't get as much out of it. I got more out of this than even my first expo. So I came here this year with my list of, you must get these answers like this. And then, I've been working through this periodically, but this is basically everything that will happen in the next 6 months to 8 months here in the business. And I've been slowly marking them off as I plan or have done them. So it's, it's amazing. And I couldn't write fast enough. So yeah, and the energy, I should say that, everybody I talked to was just like, they're so excited to be a part of this thing because it all feels like it's moving in a good direction.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about the ideas that they came away with. They want to know how to implement those ideas. And as a matter of fact, somebody suggested we have a class at the end of next expo about what do we do with all this now? Because that can be overwhelming. And I think just in general, it's hard when you come across a new idea as a business owner. You're already so overwhelmed with sometimes the business that you're getting and things you're working on. How do you go about implementing things like that? So what's your game plan on that?
It's funny you mentioned that because like 3 months ago, I actually became like a real grown-up business. I put all my systems in place. They had always been there, but they'd all just been in my head, and I just translated them to my people. But 3 months ago, we actually put it all down and did it all. And so that, when you get input, when you get ideas like this, you go back and the systems are there. You just have to find out which system to drop that into. So like this here, I went down and I started going for the low-hanging fruit. And because I now have a right-hand man that I call the integrator, so in my business, I'm supposed to come up with all the crazy ideas, and I'm going to throw them all at my integrator, and my integrator is my filter, and he's going to say, all right, Nick, 9 of those are the stupidest things I've ever heard, and one of them is going to change our business forever. And he gets the one of them, and then we make a plan to infiltrate it. So not only do I have somebody to bounce them off of, but then underneath him, we have 3 to 4 members of a leadership team, and each one of those people has a specific task. And then my integrator just takes that and says, okay, well, this is a perfect task for this particular leader. And that's how we do it. So it used to be, like the first expo, I came back with this and I had to do every one of these things. And now I come back, I basically say, half of these are going to be mine. The rest of them, we'll disperse them out to the company, and the guys are just eating them up right now. So
do you, first of all, I would love to pick out the stupid ideas on that sheet. Can that be my job?
And you know what we should do, in the theory of business that I've sort of adopted for the time being, there's what they call a visionary and an integrator. And I would never call myself a visionary, not in a million years. It sounds like the worst, highfalutin role you could ever give yourself. So I still call myself the proprietor, but we should add another layer, which is like the shankinator up top. So even higher ideas come from up there, and I'll act as your filter. And then we can keep filtering down, just like just through the stages there like that. So I would like that.
This is my new
Nick. You're just making his head bigger and bigger. Like it's.
No, but this is how you'll know if it's a decent idea. I just made this up. Nick, I just made this up. You're on the cutting edge of somebody. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, do you mind sharing a couple of your takeaways just to kind of? I mean, that top secret or what?
No, not at all. And you know what? This is the no shit list for every business owner. It's all the things that you have to do, but you just need to. All these little balls and stars and planets are floating around you, and you know they're all there, and they're all important, but you just don't know how to, until you see the master plan, you take 10 steps back, you don't really see it. So one of the most valuable ones came from one of my favorite people on earth, Dustin Zapancic, the owner of Dreamscape Painting. Every time I get near this guy, it changes the way I do business. And one of the things he was talking about is basically just finding out what you're really good at as a business owner. It's something so simple, but in our industry, we have to wear all the hats for a long time. When we start our own business, not only are we the actual doers, we're the production managers, the accountants, the marketers, the hirers, the visionaries, the integrators, everything. And as you grow in business, you slowly try to get rid of some of those roles, but you still have to sort of coordinate all of them and truly finding out what you're actually good at, because there's things that you're good at and there's things that you like to do that you're good at. And what I'm trying to figure out now is, of the things that I'm competent at, what are the things that I truly just I can't sleep at night thinking about, and I'm going to focus all my time on those and let my poor integrator take up all my slack then. So but no, one of those yeah, go ahead.
No, I like that. I like hearing what you're taking with you. Give me another one.
Okay. So honestly, it was it's something so simple. It was find out what you're good at. So Dustin, he's the man. He's such a high level thinker that, I'm thinking I think I might switch an oil primer or something this year. And he's trying to figure out the meaning of life. So it's awesome to follow that. I'm definitely going to join an outside peer group. I am in a economic gardening group full of manufacturers, tech companies, people who've created apps, all sorts of good things like that. And that's awesome. That's coming to an end in 6 months. So I'm going to seek out, besides all the, the 4 groups I'm in with the PDCA, I'm going to seek out another outside group of people who are just off the wall. I'm going to try to find people who are 100 times better than me and try to sort of, like the little pilot fish on the side of a shark. I'm going to try to suck myself onto them. And then hopefully I can get some collateral damage from that. So. Yeah.
There you go.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. And also, you know, and maybe this is a good example, but I've been trying to find a good example because people, they see pictures from the expo and they're always asking, you know, like, well, okay, well, we'll join, but what do you get out of it? And I've been trying to find like a concise example. And I think I actually came up with a really good example. 3 weeks ago, I could never even envision somebody going out and selling jobs for my company, you know, because it's me. I'm all over it. I created this thing. Nobody knows more about paint than me. How could they possibly do a good a job as me? But over the course of 2 weeks, talking to the Paris painting think tank, the geniuses over there, and then going to the expo and talking to, you know, Nick May, Nick Lagrasso, Dustin, everybody else there, in the matter of 2 weeks, I have a fully formed idea of what that person could do for the company, who I should be looking for. And now all of a sudden, I feel like I'm lacking without it. So that perspective that, you know, it just flushes your ego right down the toilet and lets you know how to actually be better.
Nice. I love that. Hey, I know we're going to get you on a podcast. We haven't had you on a podcast for a while. I'm excited to get you on a podcast as soon as possible to give some of those insights, some of those takeaways. We'll pick some topic the podcast can be about, but looking forward to that, man.
We should just randomly throw darts at this list because I stare at this list every morning. I'm just enthralled with all the fun things that are coming for everybody here in my my business. So
yeah, let's do some rapid fire of some of that stuff. And you know, I was thinking about bringing you on with somebody else and just saying like, let's throw all that out there.
Yeah.
Let pick from that heap and say, hey, what can I use? What's a good idea for me? That's kind of what was happening at the expo the whole time. Is just a huge you know, melting pot of all of those types of ideas. And then people walked away with a lot. It was a lot, I know. So.
No, that's awesome. So what else, if you guys were going to add something, change something about the expo, I mean, the expo was like grease lightning. It was just, everything was smooth. Everybody was happy. It was seamless. Everybody knew exactly where to go. There wasn't hiccups. Nobody didn't understand anything. Are you forming any thoughts for next year's expo?
Yeah, what do you think?
We have several thoughts going on, but I don't know how much we can share.
Top secret,
yeah,
bro.
Top secret stuff. But I actually wanted to ask you, because not only did you teach at Expo, but I think you attended a few of the sessions, right?
Every one I could.
Okay. So you were talking about being a painting business owner, you have to wear many hats, many roles. So do you think the classes at Expo was it a good variety for you? Did it help you on different aspects of your business?
It was huge. And I was having a tough time. You know, you got the app on your phone and there's 4 to 5 options for each, you know, session of the day. And there were some times where honestly, I was standing in the hallway, you know, almost ready to flip a coin because I knew I was going to be sad missing somebody. So that's a good sign. I mean, honestly, I would have spread it out over 2 more days and have less sessions so I get to see everybody, or at least record the other one so I could see them later. But yeah, that's a good thing. I really missed a lot of classes that I didn't get to see.
And that's actually one of the things we were going over in our Expo recap meeting is how many classes should we keep at the Expo? Should we do fewer? Should we do more? Because I think a lot of people have that same issue of, I want to attend all of the classes, but there's not time. So.
And I know that's got to be tough for you guys too, because you got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people there. And if you only have 2 classes going, you know, if one is on commercial painting and one is on, you know, basic estimating, one might be completely overwhelmed and one might not be. And then there's too many people per class. And I mean, the class sizes were awesome. I just wish I could have been in more places at one time, you know?
Well, and all of our presenters are great quality. So Absolutely. It's hard to, you know, none of them were filler classes. They were all needed and necessary.
I mean, the speaking spots it's highly competitive. I mean, it's hard to decide who we're going to fit in and who we have to say no to. I mean, those were hard discussions. People know. So, well, let me ask you, what were like a couple classes that stood out for you that you really, I know I'm not asking you to pick winners or losers, but I'm just saying, what was a couple classes that really stood out that you took a lot from?
I liked,
other than your.
Oh, yeah. Okay. If we get rid of those, I'd have to think, no. Torlando's class on a different kind of theory of time management. I like those sort of things, you know, where we're not just talking about the specifics of it. I mean, nobody loves the specifics and the details more than me, but I like the sort of overarching principles of business and time management and things like that. That was good. Jim,
Salutis?
Kalutis. I always want to say Lakutis. It's Jim Kalutis. I've been super impressed by him since the first expo I saw him at, and he's been the friendliest, most helpful person ever. And you think, what could little old Nick and his painters learn from a $20 million painting business? But honestly, a third of these came from Jim's session when I was in there. And I was sitting next to Gina Court and another big commercial painter. And I was basically saying, Jim would say something. I'd be like, is that true? Do you do that too? And she's like, yeah, you should really, So I was taking, honestly, a third of these came from that interaction. And you would think there'd be nothing coming from it. So I really get a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Yep. We heard just loving that you could start off every day talking about the classes that are going to be coming up, what topics those are going to be. You could kind of prime the conversation, prime your thought process before you get in there, and then you came up with afterthoughts, which was what?
Well, actually, there was a pre-show and afterthoughts, so that gave the contractors the opportunity to speak to the teachers before the class, and then afterwards, it kind of that one-on-one time with the presenters.
And real quick, sorry to interrupt you guys. Nick May is going to come on next with me after, and we're going to talk about this. So maybe one more thing here, and we'll keep him going because he's got a lot of stuff to do. But, the one thing I did notice, and I didn't notice it till thinking about it today, was that the one thing missing that I would have liked to see, and I know that there's limited time, but in the past, I remember there being somewhere between 2 and 4 contractors almost on a discussion panel in the front of the room, and then a moderator. And then it was basically, let's start here and let's get questions. And that rapid fire asking questions, that was good. I think the brain melds took up a lot of that stuff, but that was something that I valued in the past. And I don't know if it would add anything in the future, but that was something that I got a lot out of as a young contractor, years ago.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Definitely going to bring, we want to have panels, we want to have the brain melds and stuff, but formats like that is very nice. So we'll consider things like that. I know they used to do that in place of a keynote. So we'll see. We'll consider it all. But, yep, we'll bring some good stuff. I know you got to get off to get to Nick.
All right,
Nick and Nick.
Hey, and listen, hats off to you guys. Unbelievable. Everybody is so excited about what your guys doing, and we're happy that we have people like you who are going in a trajectory like that. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you.
All right, let's see if we can go away.
You can't get rid of us.
I can't get rid of you.
Here, let me see.
We'll try to X ourselves.
Are you gonna?
But until then,
get out of here.
Fine.
Bye. Shoot. Okay, let's see if we can get Nick on here now. All right, Nick should be coming up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And the kindest thing you could do is if you want to share this broadcast. Mr. May, how are you, sir?
What's going on? Hey, Nick.
Man, it was so good to meet you at the expo. That was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. To finally shake your hand and meet you, the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Slavik. It was awesome.
Wow, that's and we're here to talk about the expo. So what were your thoughts? This was your first. I mean, you just joined the PDCA. You just went to the expo. What was your knee-jerk reaction to it all?
I'd never been to a painter expo. I'd never really been. I guess the closest thing I've ever been to that was, a local pro show that we'd have at my local Benjamin Moore dealer. So it was really great to meet. I think the biggest thing I was shocked about was to meet so many high quality, high caliber paint contractors. I thought I would meet more guys that were like, hey, it's just me and one other guy, and I've been doing this for 12 years. And I just thought I would find more of that. But I swear, every time I turn around and I meet somebody new, it was, oh yeah, we're, I'm a commercial outfit, and we didn't get into that pissing contest, but it was like, these are guys that are running serious businesses. And that's all I care about. Like, I don't really care about how many guys anybody has, but if they're serious about building your business and you really got that understanding especially in the morning session. Like that was probably my favorite time every single day, the morning session of the brain meld. And I know you and Chris were talking a little bit about that just a second ago, but that was my favorite. That was my favorite part.
It was awesome. And I almost felt bad, just like you. It's like every 20 minutes we were supposed to move around to these brain meld tables, and there was topics on the table. And I actually came and super ignorant of me and super nerdy. Like there was actually a table that had work comp on it. And I was like, yes. And I sat down at the work comp table and nobody sat there with me. And I'm like, all right, I'll go to Nick May's table. We'll go. So I was like, oh, I actually needed some information. And then, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Mike Kelly sat down with me, and I was like, all right, let's talk work comp. It's getting a little crazy on my end here. He's like, my wife does the work comp. I can't give you anything. I'm like, all right, well, what do you want to talk about then?
Yeah, that's great.
But it was fun. I wish they weren't, I wish they didn't even have to start off with a topic. I wish they would just say, hey, you guys got an hour. What do you want to talk about? And I think that's what it ended up being anyway, so.
Yeah, we had a tendency to meander just a little bit. We did one, I think it was the second day, we sat down, we were in the back of the room, and Chris Berry sat down with us, the Idaho winner.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Man, that table just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was so much fun because he runs such a different business than probably anybody else I've talked to.
Yeah.
But we talked about some great stuff, and guys just weren't leaving the table, but they started gathering around. We're like, grab a chair, just come on, join us, it'll be fine. So that was a ton of fun. But yes, there's one thing to be in chat rooms and to talk to different guys, but then to go and have a beer afterwards and to go to, have lunch together or just sit out in the hallway and chat with somebody, just fantastic.
Yeah, and it was amazing. I was showing Chris too. It's like, there was a lot of the times where I had this in the back pocket, and when somebody would say something, I'd be like, hold one. And I just needed to write it down because, when it's 1:30 in the morning and you're deep into a business conversation, you're like, I will not forget that. That must be in my brain by tomorrow. So
I probably did the best job I've ever done with taking notes. I got this brand new notebook right before I left, and I made sections. And then one of the cool things I did was I made a page right before all the other notes, and it was my action page. So when I would write notes, I would have like a line on. I'm like, I can't forget to do this, and so I would star it. And then at the end of the session, I would move the really important. So let's say I start 4 things. And then I would take 2 of those, and I'm like, I can't forget these 2 things. And I would move that over to the other list. And so I've got to start working through that. When I came back from Expo, we went right into Home and Garden Show.
Yep. Yeah.
So Tyler, my marketing director, he's been out of the office. And so obviously, there's lots of things that him and I need to talk about, but we've got some action stuff to do.
So everybody always asks, what's the takeaway? Was there one thing that changes the way you do something or sparked another idea? Was there one big thing you've been thinking about since the expo?
For me, it was a lot of little things. But you go down the road. I was going to try and pull up my page of the action plan that I needed to do. But it was stuff that I was like, yep, got to do that. Why have I not done that?
And it's funny you say that. Yeah. A lot of it is reminder stuff like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that 6 months ago. Now I really got to do it.
Yeah. Of course, now I can't find my one page of my action plan. It's in here somewhere. I got a lot of notes. I don't want to take up my time trying to do that, but it was some stuff we've got to do on the website. It was, ways to analyze some numbers. I met one of the guys that was kind of high up in 5-Star Painting, the franchise.
Oh, yeah.
That Matt, I can't remember Matt's last name, but he's brilliant. So he's kind of an analytical kind of guy. Like, I think he's some kind of engineer. And so he gave me several things. And that came from one of the brain melds. Some really great stuff. And I love connecting with people. There's a lot of things you can get online, and there's a lot of tutorial stuff that you can get online. But when you sit down and you talk through some stuff and you share something that you've gone through, this happened. You know, I did an interview with Torlando that's actually going to go live on my podcast. I think it just went live.
I just listened to it yesterday.
I heard you talking about his session that he did, and him and I talked about something when I interviewed him about balance in life, like life balance. And he's got such a great perspective on that. I'm actually encouraging him to talk to Chris about doing a session on that at
nice.
Next Expo. Because I think as business owners, you know, we all wear all these hats and we all have so many things going on, and it's hard to really focus on business balance or life balance because we're just go, go, go. And we've got, you know, we have so many people that are coming to us and they're asking us for things, whether that's a client, whether that's a new customer, whether it's your staff. There's all these different things, and we have to keep, you know, that balance a little bit in check. I mean, I'm all about seasons and going full on and hard at it. But man, I don't know about you, but I've in the last year, I've been involved with going to some funerals, and you know, we got one shot, man. Right?
I know. And at some point you're looking at it, it's like, this might be halfway. So, you know, what is it from here on out?
Yeah. And I'm older than you. So yeah, what does that make me? Right?
I live pretty hard, Nick.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have.
So yeah, and it's always interesting for me that, you know, the first year I went to Expo, it was like, listen, I'm very interested about specifics, like what accounting stuff do you use? What, you know, what do you pay people, this and that? And all of a sudden, once I got about 2 hours of that, all of it's been is perspective over the last 2 years. And the Business Brush group does that. Your podcast does an awesome job of that. And then meeting these people and just like talking to John Busick, you know, he's a person's a substance. But when you actually talk with him in person, it makes you like, even if we're just talking about hobbies or something, it makes you change the way you run your business because you're speaking to somebody who's really good at what they do.
Yeah.
No, it's a wonderful
I
thing.
enjoyed getting so many different perspectives from different people of different kinds of companies, different sizes of companies. So I don't know where else do you get that other than going to an expo and being around. I don't know how many. What do they have? 300 people at the expo? Is that about?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a great size. You didn't feel overwhelmed by it, right?
Not at all. And everything flowed. It's like you walk out of one session, pretty soon you're walking into another, and then you walk into lunch, and nobody was ever confused. There was just never enough time. You know, it's just one of those problems. You get in a conversation, you just want to keep conversating.
Yeah, I would echo what you were just saying. It's like, hey, let's add another day to this thing, right? I want to get more.
I would have liked to take, you know, and again, standing out in the hallway, you're looking at 4 options. It's like, I want to see 3 of those. I mean, you know, and it's hard, but yeah. What would you like to see added to it next year?
So I don't know if I want to show my cards. I want to talk to Chris about some ideas. I would like to. I'd love to do a panel from up front, in front of everybody. Let's get everybody in the big room. Like I would love to do a panel with you and maybe Chris Berry and really have Chris do kind of a Ask a Painter. Like let's do a panel discussion of how all of our businesses are different. Maybe pull up another contractor that does commercial like Gina, like bring Gina into that conversation, right? Yep. And we all can talk from up front and then do, pass the mic and
Nick cut out there for a second. He'll be back in just a second here. Looks like there's a little bit of delay on his end. Let's see if we can. Oh, there we go. Let's get that on there. Oh, Nick paused there for a second. He must have a little bit of a snag on his end, but in case we're talking over they've actually had debates during the lunch. Oh, it looks like Nick dropped off. But in the past, they've actually had debate panels where they've pitted 3 or 4 painters against 3 or 4 other painters, and they gave us a topic. And in front of the whole assembly, we actually debated a topic, and those were really good. It would be really cool to have 4 different types of businesses up there, and then just take questions from the crowd. So if Nick could get back on, we'll do that. Otherwise, no worries, Nick. Not a problem. I'm just going to go through questions here. Have a good weekend, Nick, if I don't talk to you by then. I'm just going to go through some questions here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Dan Livingston, Dean Cudd, Joel Hamburg, as usual. Joel and I actually did a panel together for one of the education sessions. Christine from the education department, PDCA. Monty, love talking to Monty. He actually implemented one of the cabinet processes that I do, and he was doing awesome work out there in California. So Rugmani, thank you for watching. Juliano, my good friend from Brazil. Love what Juliano Alcantara is doing down there. Christine, Joel Hamburg. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, Joel. Josh Erickson, Shannon McKeith restored her beautiful house about, 6-8 years ago. James Gilbert, Josh Harrison, thank you for watching. Richard Heilman, I believe he always puts it on the Bluetooth or the auxiliary and listens. Efren Medina, who I look up to very highly as far as finishing in business goes. Great work. I love following your work. Mike Schirik, Dean Cudd, Sam Hardy, past apprentice of mine and wonderful artist. Chris Shank, Mike Pote, Philip, thank you for watching. Jamie Marks, Lucas DeCruz, Giffen, let's see if we've got any, Mark Johnson, Johnston, thank you. Let's see if we got any questions here. I love the color code idea. Yeah, and we actually just did a shop model, James. James was mentioning the color coded totes. We have a system that there's so many totes, ladders, extension poles, things like that, and they're all color coded. And we actually, in my shop, while I was at the expo, my integrator did a shop remodel, and each of my color coded crews has a spot in the shop now where the paint companies now deliver my paint with color coded jobs to those things. So that'll be a nice thing for summer here. Aroldo Botarde, my friend from Brazil. Nice touch-up process. Oh, that's right, Richard. You always listen on the auxiliary. Thanks a lot, man. Andy Toopy. Russ Perry, thanks for watching as usual. Donnie Kimbler. Olson, thank you for watching, my friend. We had a great discussion on the business brushes last week, and I loved your input, Donnie. Seriously, that was great. Jim Dyke. Hey, Nick, curious if you had any follow-up thoughts on the Sherwin-Williams Emerald urethane you used last year. How hard it cured down the road. It's in the running for kitchen cabinet remodel. Actually, you know what? That cabin, I went up there to do some fishing by myself as a little winter business retreat, and I walked up there, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it feels as hard as the day I left. People always say that, hey, it takes oils or urethanes or hybrids, 30 days to fully cure. Honestly, if a day or two later, that's about as far as I can tell, without using scientific instruments to test the hardness of something, sandability, scratch test, tape test, things like that. I've seen really no difference after 2 days. It's a wonderful, wonderful product. And especially when we're up in the wilderness in northern Minnesota, I was able to enamel the trim, doors, wainscot in this house, beadboard twice in a day, which is huge. So that's a wonderful thing. Austin, Walt, thank you for watching. Dan Ross. Peter Ellis, Christian McCullum, Terry Liuski from New Prague there. Nick, I think you shamed Mr. Shank last week. His biceps are covered, and he's trying to challenge you with a beer. Oh, man, Chris Shank is a wonderful guy. If you ever meet Chris Shank, just ask him for a random bit of poetry, and he'll blow your mind. So Aaron Steininger, thank you for watching. Stephen Capetto, Jesse Trinka, James Gilbert, new Bluetooth mic is great. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. This is an experiment. I have shunned one of these for a long time because I didn't want to be that guy walking around doing one of these all day. But honestly, it's actually kind of nice. So Brian Yalsi, Mijacek, thank you for watching. Jenny Stika, John Harrell, Mijacek, thank you so much for watching. And Shane Garrett, who I met at the PDCA EXPO, awesome guy. Give a shout out for the Craftsmanship Forum. Now, the PDCA has a couple offshoots. The Craftsmanship Forum, which focuses highly on furthering the actual craft and science of coatings. That's going to be held in Portland, and the residential forum is actually going to be held in Minneapolis, probably about 15 minutes from here. So everybody who wants to go to a PDCA function and see, I'm sure Jason Paris and his think tank are going to be there, or some contingent of it. There's going to be a whole bunch of really awesome residential contractors there. And if you want to come to my neck of the woods in the summer, maybe we can fit in some fishing too. So, all right, John Scherer, thank you for watching. Love watching John on social media. He's a great contributor to the Business Brush there. So, Paul Rafferty, Jessica Newman, cousin of mine, Richard Dresser, Josh Harrison. Where do you find out about the expo? Chris Shank, Christine O'Connell, Danny Ibrahim, or go to PDCA on Facebook here, and all of it's going to be on there for you. You can't miss it. Just get a hold of somebody at PDCA, and they actually have times, dates. We're going to Savannah, Georgia next year, which is going to be amazing. I can't wait to get down there. I'll probably bring the family, and we'll probably stay after to go see some of the historic estates and stuff like that. So Regina, thank you for watching. Tiago, Staler, yeah, it's going good, man. Thanks a lot. Sam Onan, Jason Paris. I'm surprised you got time to watch, man. Marito, Brenda Seifert, Daniel Petrolak, Nick and Nick Barker, Gary Gomez, Tyler Hansen, the bearded painter. Thanks a lot. I'm actually going to my favorite barber after this to get cleaned up a little bit, because it gets a little crazy around the edges here. So Naomi, thank you so much. John Mason, Joe Dykelbauer, Nikki Ordle, thank you so much for watching. James Gilbert. Yeah, definitely. You guys should try to get to at least one of the craftsmanship forum, residential forum, or something here. And if not, I think Nick May's got a program he calls Crank, which is for people probably up to about $750,000 in revenue per year. That's going to be organized pretty shortly in Colorado, where it's just a business summit. They're going to get together. We're going to talk. I shouldn't say we. He's going to talk about business and furthering the business. It'll kind of be like a mini expo. So get a hold of Nick May if you're interested. So Sam Hirschfield of the Hirschfields in Minnesota, thank you so much for watching. John Mason. Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. Josh Wynn, Terry Taylor, thank you for watching. Paul Carlos Ferreira, Joel Hamburg. See who else is here. See if we got any. Allison DeLima, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Sam Reuter, it's always good to talk to you. Thanks a lot for watching, Richard. We do appreciate it. Jim Callahan, Wes Melgren, my friendly Sherwin-Williams rep. Josh Boutwell. Lantani. Lantani. Thank you so much for watching. Land is a very famous guy in the outdoor world, out west hunting and things like that. So thank you so much for watching, Land. I appreciate it. Creston Girth, thank you for watching. Nick May, that he dropped off there. That's fine. Peter Ellis, thank you so much. Anthony Cade, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate it. Oh, there's Jason. There he is. Yeah, we're going to have a fun time. Jason's been posting some pretty wild stuff on the Business Brush group about the macros that he runs through Google and things like that to automate his business. And he's an amazing person with how his mind works. So let's see what else we got here. Joe Wondra, Stephen Smith, Kelly Hartle, thank you for watching. Tim Marcellet, Kate Traxler. Okay, that's about it, guys. Chad Merriam, Jeff Tuma, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get back to this stuff here. Watching the apprentices go by. I love it. All right, guys, everybody, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week. If you want to go live with me, just give me a private message, and we'll do a show together. If you got a topic you want me to cover, let's do it. Otherwise, everybody, I don't know where we'll be next week. It'll probably be a job site walkthrough, and we'll take all of your questions and discussion live. So thank you all for watching. It means the world to me, and kindest thing you can do is to share this so that we get the finest paint business owners, the finest homeowners with the finest questions all discussed in here, and we can go forth. Have a good weekend, everyone.